It's the morning show on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM, and it's Monday, and we talk to our friends from the Barrington Community Foundation for our 8 o'clock block, and that's who we've got joining us on the phone. We've got Lisa Cripps Downey, as well as some special guests we'll get to here in just a moment. But Lisa, there's something really cool that Barrington Community Foundation has partnered with some other organizations for something called the United Civics Monuments Fund. What's this all about?
So the Barrington Community Foundation is very excited. We are partnering with the African American History and Literature Gallery, the Cultural Social Justice Committee, Krasel Art Center, and Lake Michigan College on this Monuments Fund project. And so the United Civic Monuments Movement, it's an initiative to commemorate social justice and honor the historic legacies of Benton Harbor and St. Joe. So the project is to publicly place 4 monuments by hopefully 2022. And they are 2 complementary monuments. One in each city would represent civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. And then 2 additional monuments that would be unique to either city, which would honor a historic figure specific to that city. And we're just really excited to be part of this, but the people who really know what's going on with this project and were just the hearts behind it are on the phone with, or are on the radio with us today.
Absolutely.
So it's Mac and Sharon Brown from the African American History and Literature Gallery, and then Tammy Miller is with us representing Krasel Art Center.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to have you guys part of the show and to tell us about this whole thing. Let's start first with Mac and Sharon. How did this whole project begin?
Well, first, Johnny, we want to say thank you for having us.
Yes.
We're excited to be here to once again share a very unique story regarding this particular community. If we look for the origins of this project, the vision perhaps had its beginnings in the aftermath of the 2003 civil unrest here in the community. There were some information published by the governor's office regarding certain elements of the community related to education, employment, and housing, et cetera. And those statistics that were published were, for lack of a better term, perhaps disheartening.
Sure.
To have to read and have to understand that they existed in this community, which may, to some extent, perhaps explain why some of the explosive turbulence took place. In having to review the report that the governor's office put out and seeing these terrible indices that reflected this community, the ideas regarding what could possibly be done, how to address some of these issues was born in our hearts and in our minds.
Yeah.
Yes, and I initially kind of was the one that read that report. It was, I can remember still late, early morning, and I didn't really know about it, really, to be honest with you. I was kind of playing catch up during that time with what was going on in our hometown. We both born and raised right here in Benton Harbor. At the time when the report was read, when I came across it, we were living and raising family in Simi Valley, California. And so reading this and knowing that it was our hometown and it just didn't seem real. That's not where we're from, as far as what that report was reflecting. So I shared that information, with my husband, and it was just a time in our lives that it's like, you're in Simi Valley, California. We're doers. We're in a healthy community. I had kind of grown up a bit and understood how a healthy community comes about and how it stays that way. And we then said to ourselves, okay, let's do the same thing we do here in Simi Valley and say, what can we do? What should we be doing? Where should we be, and interacting with who in order to help our hometown? And that's how myself in particular at the time, because of my schedule, was able to start coming back and forth more often with projects pretty much mapped out and in hand. During that particular time as well is when the idea of they don't have culture and art in Benton Harbor. It's such a inspiration to, I believe, to any city, any state, to have art and culture there. So it's a vision that gives you hope, and not to have those parts, whether it's art and culture, it could be other things as well. But in particular, that's one tool that I immediately, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. And the idea of the statues at that point came about.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I mean, and with any town you go to, a monument has many significance of conversation or just a history that tells you about the person. And there's just so much involved, and really, it's about the conversations too. You know, you
Yes.
talk about who that, you know, whether it's a person or it's some sort of moment in time, that it really starts that conversation and really between communities about different things. So what are your hopes and the importance of this project? What are your hopes for the future?
Well, we know that things that we see, and certainly that conversations and historical and what we also research and we learn, it has influences on us. And folks may say, why a monument? It can't move, it can't talk. That's not true. I can remember that many impressions that were left on my life, as far as when you talk about self-development. These people weren't necessarily people that I was able to hug or touch or to actually have a cup of coffee with. But as I heard their journey and their story and their struggle and how they were able to persevere and come out with a purpose to say that I kind of got an idea, I feel for why I'm here, not necessarily just for myself, but there is a large part of humanity that's waiting on me to do my part. And so that's what I feel, having our memories, our history, our legacies, visible to us, even when we can't talk to them live, gives us inspiration. And I know that when we go through a tough time, and that's even right in our own homes, with our parents, they always may not be with us. They could have passed on. But those things foundations that they've laid, the struggles that they've had, remind us that when these things become kind of life-size issues for us, that we can endure and we can overcome. And so we know that MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was certainly, with the different parts of his journey, would be someone that our children and ourselves, because we were there, we were actually there. So I think it's our duty, I think it's our responsibility is to make sure that those legacies are passed on, that our children too will need, those things to look at, to remember, to help them along the way as well.
Absolutely. And Tammy Miller from Krasl Art Center is joining us as well. This is a big project, obviously, not only the importance of this, Tammy, but also in being able to do it and get these monuments not only made but in place and all that. So how's that working, and what is Krasl doing to make this happen?
You're absolutely right, Johnny. There's a lot of moving parts to a project like this. There's getting the community engaged. There's talking to our cities. There's working with committees. There's marketing. There's all those things. But obviously a huge part of this is finding an artist or artists to create these artworks for our cities. And we have just really actively entered into that portion of the project right now. We currently have a request for qualifications out to artists across the country. We sent out notices to artists who have created MLK monuments in the past. We sent out the RFQ to the Chicago Artists Coalition, the National Sculpture Society, Public Art Dialogue, Forecast Public Art, all these different organizations and artists across the nation to say, hey, we have this really exciting project. It's happening. We're looking for either an individual artist or an artist team to put it together for us. We're open. It might be a mentor-mentee relationship. It might be a group of people that's both artists and designers. But we've put that call out there and are asking for people to express their interest to the CRASL by the end of July. And then over the course of August, we're going to be working with the committees and the community and our city officials to select 3 to 5 candidates that we think are really exciting for this project. And going to go through that selection process. Our goal is that August 28th, we would be able to announce those candidates to you. And that by MLK Day 2022, we would be able to tell you who the selected artist is and start sharing their vision for our cities and for our specific project with the public. So it's really exciting. This is a fun part of the project where we're getting the word out and looking at lots of great ideas and doing all that big brainstorming, big idea thinking. And it's very exciting and very energizing.
Absolutely. I think this is something that is going to be awesome. And I know that a lot of great people are involved. And I think everything's going to work out the way it should. I cross my fingers because I know this is something that's not only important, but it's also a great thing and a needed thing for our communities. And back to Lisa. Lisa, this is something like Tammy said, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things involved, organizations as well as artists that will be able to do this. So one other big aspect of any sort of monument or any art project is funding. So Lisa, if people want to get involved and donate and learn more information about this, how might they get started?
Sure. So you can visit our website at berriengcommunity.org, and it's under the Giving tab. There's the United Civic Monuments Fund. So berriengcommunity.org/United Civic Monuments Fund, and you can make a donation there. You can always give us a call at 269-983-3304. We're happy to get you more information or make sure we connect you with somebody who can tell you more about this project and let you get involved if you're interested in doing that.
Absolutely. So many great things happening, and I've had such a wonderful time chatting with you guys for a short amount of time. I wish I could just talk to you for a long time. Sharon has one more thing. What do you got, Sharon?
I want to say, too, that this thing is not just a one-fold even, just about legacy. It's also about our Twin Cities uniting. We have been through a pretty much rough year and a half. All of us agree. And this is something being birthed out of the ashes. We must do something. When you have suffered, there has to be, are you coming out, a celebration. And we want to make sure that we establish something too for the Twin Cities, that we can stand strong together and say that we are better for our pain. So that God bless everybody. Please don't miss out. Join in.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to hearing more about this project. And like you said, if you want to get involved, the United Civics Monuments Fund, you can learn more at berriengcommunity.org. But thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Donnie.
Thank you.
Thank you.